Your person is currently undergoing a powerful transformation. They've begun to recognize the toxic patterns and karmic relationships that have kept them stagnant for far too long. These aren't just surface-level connections, they're ties that once held significant emotional influence over them. However, they now see how these individuals, including certain so-called friends, have tried to manipulate their decisions and emotions, particularly when it comes to you. These people created confusion, planted seeds of doubt, and actively worked to block your person's connection with you. But something within them has shifted. They are no longer willing to live under the weight of other people's expectations or interference. In fact, your person is actively cutting ties with these karmic connections. It's not an easy process, but it's a necessary one. They're beginning to reclaim their power, and in doing so, they're creating space for something real, something only you have ever offered them. While they may have seemed distant or disconnected in the past, the truth is that they've been silently longing for you. The pull they feel toward you isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. You bring them a sense of peace, fulfillment, and unconditional love that they've never experienced with anyone else. They are desperate to speak with you. Their heart is overwhelmed with emotions they can no longer suppress, and they're already taking steps to find their way back into your life. Every moment they spend in silence feels heavier than the last. The regret of not choosing you sooner, or not fighting harder for the connection, weighs on them deeply. Despite any pride or fear they once held, they now realize that you are irreplaceable. Your person is also tired of waiting, tired of silence, tired of feeling stuck in a cycle that no longer serves them. They've spent too much time in solitude, overthinking, replaying old conversations, and wondering what could have been if only they had acted differently. But now, they're done with passivity. They are preparing to execute a plan of action because they can no longer bear the idea of staying in this phase of longing and uncertainty. This is no longer about timing or fate, this is about choice. And they are choosing you. More importantly, they are choosing themselves. They are choosing to reclaim their freedom, the freedom to love who they want, to express how they feel, and to build the life they truly desire without guilt or shame. For a long time, they were afraid. Afraid of judgment, of making the wrong choice, of being vulnerable. But those fears are dissolving, replaced by a deeper truth: they deserve happiness, and that happiness exists with you. Meanwhile, you've stepped into a different kind of power. After so much pain, waiting, and uncertainty, you have finally begun to align with your higher self. Your spirit guides have been quietly nudging you in the right direction, and now you're seeing the signs more clearly than ever. You've done the inner work, you've healed parts of yourself that once felt broken, and as a result, you're standing stronger, more centered, and more peaceful than you've been in a long time. This newfound peace hasn't gone unnoticed. Your person can feel the shift in your energy, even from a distance. You're no longer chasing, no longer anxiously hoping. They can sense that you've begun to detach, to surrender, and to focus on your own well-being. And it surprises them. In truth, it scares them a little. They never expected you to grow so independent, so radiant in your solitude. It's made them realize how much they've taken your love and presence for granted. Now, they're praying. Not just for forgiveness, but for another chance. They're hoping, sometimes desperately, that you're not moving on or entertaining other romantic options. The thought of you finding peace in someone else's arms fills them with panic. They don't want to lose you. They want to return, not just as someone from the past, but as a better, more awakened version of themselves, someone who can finally give you the love, stability, and commitment you've always deserved. This period of separation has been a mirror for both of you. It's shown your person where they were weak, and it's shown you where you are strong. And while the journey has been painful, it's also been transformative. Your person is beginning to understand that the connection you share isn't ordinary, it's rare, deep, and soul-level. And they're ready to fight for it. As the energy continues to shift, expect movement. Your person is no longer content with silence. They're coming back, not because they're lonely, but because they've finally awakened to the truth of this bond. And they're hoping, more than anything, that when they do, you'll be there, not waiting, but open. I can't help but notice that you've started to release me slowly, and it's becoming more and more obvious with each passing day. There's a certain calmness in your energy now, a sense of peace that makes me feel like you're finally starting to enjoy your life without me. On the surface, you seem to be doing just fine, living your life, moving forward, maybe even healing. But I keep asking myself, are you really okay without me, or are you just putting on an act to protect yourself? I wonder if you still think about me at all, or if you've already learned how to live without needing me. These thoughts are haunting me, and I can't shake the feeling of uncertainty. It's painful, and I feel like I'm spiraling into insecurity because of it. The truth is, I'm deeply worried. Not just for myself, but for what we had, what we once were. Your distance is unfamiliar, and though I know I played a part in it, it doesn't make it any easier to accept. It feels like you're slipping through my fingers, and I'm watching it happen in slow motion, completely helpless. I wonder if you're truly letting me go. If this is it. If the connection we shared is now just a memory you're learning to live without. I ask myself every day, is this how it ends? I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I've come to acknowledge some things I didn't want to face before. I know that I wasn't emotionally available when you needed me most. I know that I failed to treat you the way you deserve to be treated, and that realization stings more than I can explain. Looking back, I can see how my lack of presence, empathy, and emotional maturity chipped away at what we had. I took your patience for granted, and I was blind to the love and effort you poured into our relationship. You were always trying, always hoping, always forgiving, and I never truly appreciated how much strength that took on your part. Now that you've gone quiet, it's like a mirror has been held up to me. Your silence speaks volumes, and it's made me see the truth I tried to avoid. You're not just anyone. You're a queen, someone who knows her worth, someone who refuses to settle for less than what she gives. Your silence has power, and it's made me realize that you're not going to tolerate selfishness or disloyalty anymore. You've outgrown the version of me who couldn't meet you where you were. And as painful as it is to admit, I respect you for it. I know you gave me more chances than I probably deserved. You stayed far longer than most people would have. You kept believing that maybe I would change, that maybe one day I would finally show up in the ways you needed. I never imagined the day would come when you'd stop putting in the effort, but now that it's here, I see how unfair it was of me to expect your energy while giving so little of my own. I don't blame you for stepping back. I don't blame you for protecting your heart. In fact, I admire the strength it takes to walk away from someone you once loved so deeply. That said, I have to be honest about how all of this is affecting me. As much as I know this might upset you, I'm struggling to handle the way you're treating me now. It's not your fault, you're doing what's best for you, and I understand that. But it's breaking my heart. This distance, this unfamiliar dynamic between us, it's almost unbearable. I feel lost without the version of you that used to fight for us. And yet, even through the pain, I know this is exactly what I need. Your silence is pushing me to confront my own feelings instead of avoiding them like I always did. It's forcing me to grow, to sit with my emotions, and to recognize the urgency of making things right, whether or not I ever get the chance to do that with you again. Your withdrawal is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that love cannot survive on one-sided effort, that patience has limits, and that even the kindest hearts can reach a breaking point. You taught me that. And while I may have learned it too late, I promise you this lesson won't go to waste. I am listening now, truly listening, and I know I can't afford to delay any longer. I'm learning how to feel deeply, how to take responsibility, and how to show up, not just for you, but for myself. If this is truly goodbye, I want you to know that your love changed me. And if there's still even the smallest part of you that hasn't let go completely, then I hope you see that I'm finally ready to become the person you always believed I could be. But even if you never look back, I'll keep moving forward with everything you taught me etched into my heart. You had poured so much of yourself into this relationship, your time, your energy, your love, and your loyalty. From the beginning, you believed in what the two of you had and were willing to work through the ups and downs. But despite your dedication, your partner was never consistent. They were always coming and going, emotionally distant one moment and then trying to pull you back in the next. This back and forth became a painful cycle. You gave them your heart, but they never seemed ready to hold it with the care it deserved. Deep down, they knew how selfish and rude they had been. They knew their actions were hurtful, and yet, for the longest time, they chose to continue with the same patterns, choosing themselves, choosing temporary pleasures, and keeping you as an option rather than a priority. You tried to be patient. You waited, hoping they would change, hoping they would grow into the partner you needed. But each time you let them back in, you ended up more hurt than before. It wasn't that you were desperate or weak, you simply loved them that deeply. And for a long while, that love blinded you to the damage that was slowly building within your heart. Even now, with new options in front of you, you find yourself emotionally detached from them. You're not interested in entertaining anyone else, not because you haven't moved on completely, but because what you had with your partner felt irreplaceable, no matter how complicated it was. Ironically, your partner doesn't want to let you go. Now that you've stepped away and put up your boundaries, they feel the absence of your presence more than ever. They always loved you, in their own flawed way, but in the past, they were unable, or unwilling, to let go of their player lifestyle. They chose temporary attention over long-term stability. They chased distractions and avoided responsibility. That lifestyle, that refusal to fully commit, broke your heart more than once. It tore at your trust and left you feeling like you were never enough, even when you gave them everything. The turning point came when you finally walked away. It wasn't out of spite or anger, it was self-preservation. You realized that you couldn't keep allowing yourself to be someone's backup plan. That time alone, though difficult, was necessary. It gave you space to heal, to reflect, and to regain the pieces of yourself that had been lost in the chaos of the relationship. And in that silence, without the constant push and pull, your partner finally began to see things clearly. They started to understand just how much they had hurt you, and how much they had taken your love for granted. Now, they're in a place of reflection and regret. They know they were wrong, and although they may not know how to express it fully, they want to do things differently. They are hesitant to open up because they're afraid of being rejected. But deep down, they want a relationship that is built on equal give and take. They no longer want the imbalance that once defined your dynamic. They want to show up, to be present, and to build something real. But they're also aware that words are not enough this time. You've heard the apologies before. You've been promised change before. What matters now is action, consistent, intentional, and sincere effort. You, on the other hand, are in a very guarded place. After everything that's happened, it's not easy for you to trust again. You've built emotional walls to protect yourself, and rightfully so. But even with those walls, there's still a part of you that longs for the connection you once had, if it could ever be healthy and real. You're not completely closed off. If they were to approach you with genuine intentions and demonstrate real change, you would consider letting them in. You would consider becoming vulnerable again. But this time, you're not settling for crumbs. You're not accepting halfway love. The only way you would ever consider rekindling this relationship is if they are ready to offer long-term commitment. Nothing casual, nothing uncertain, just a clear, unwavering intention to build a future together. You've outgrown the chaos, the emotional roller coasters, and the mind games. You need stability, consistency, and a partner who's willing to meet you where you are, emotionally and mentally. You're no longer available for temporary connections or relationships that leave you feeling empty. At the end of the day, you still care deeply. The love you once had didn't just disappear, it transformed. It became more discerning, more self-aware, more protective of your peace. And while you're willing to forgive, you're not willing to forget the lessons you've learned. If they want a place in your life again, they'll have to earn it, not with promises, but with effort, with growth, and with a commitment that matches your own. Anything less is not acceptable. Not anymore.